This is Annick de Houwer. I'm the director of HaBilNet. In this feature, I'd like to highlight Multilingual Matters. Multilingual Matters is a small publishing house. Why would I like to highlight that publishing house? Well, because it's been of great importance to bilingual families and also to researchers on bilingualism. How so? Let's take a look. The 1980s, in fact, that was in 1984, saw the publication of the first Bilingual Family Newsletter. And it was edited by George Saunders. There he is with his family. And George actually sent me that first issue. And I got all the other issues after that. I got until I think about 2002, if I'm not mistaken. And George was the author of this book with Multilingual Matters, Bilingual Children from Birth to Teens. And I'd like to ask Tommi Grover, the current head of Multilingual Matters, to tell us a little more about the history of Multilingual Matters. Why was the Bilingual Family Newsletter started, and what was it really?
Thanks for the question, Annick. Multilingual Matters was founded in the late 1970s in order to provide information and advice to parents on how to bring their children up with more than one language in the home. This was in direct response to my parents, a Finnish and English couple, receiving well-meaning advice from the family doctor to only speak one language to their children, myself and my brother, in order to not confuse us. Fortunately, my mother, being a strong Finnish woman, decided that she was definitely going to speak Finnish, and my dad, being a sensible, practical Englishman, decided that since we lived in England, we should also speak English. So they decided to speak both. Multilingual Matters initially began to publish scientific research in journals and books to cover these topics. And then the Bilingual Family Newsletter was really founded as a way of expanding that research and allowing that research to reach real families and people who wouldn't normally read scientific papers. It was very much in a sort of families sending in their own personal stories and maybe questions that would be fielded by experts in the areas of bilingualism and multilingualism, and was published on a quarterly basis and sent out to families around the world. Remember, this was in a pre-internet era, so very much what you would now get in blogs and even Facebook groups.
Thanks, Tommi. And now that we know a little more about the history, let's go to the present. How does Multilingual Matters cater to researchers who are trying to better understand bilingualism?
That's a really interesting question, Annick, and I'm not sure that I can do it justice in a really short response, but I'll do my best. Following on from the early years that Tommi has spoken about, I think what's key about our publications is how they've broadened and diversified since those early days. We now publish research across a wide area, including bilingualism and multilingualism and so much more. Within those topics, readers will find books on all sorts of themes, including psycholinguistics, bilingualism and cognition, translanguaging and education, heritage and minority language learning, family language policy, superdiversity, multilingualism in the city and in communities. I really could go on and on here. And what's also interesting is that the books often showcase an innovative research method. So there's a lot of inspiration perhaps for future researchers who are also thinking about undertaking their own research in the area. And of course that bodes well because it means that we might have even more exciting publications in the future.
Thanks. And my final questions are, how does Multilingual Matters cater to bilingual families and educators? And what are the plans for the future?
Multilingual Matters has always published a range of books for parents and for teachers. Finding and making available high quality research was one of the reasons that the company was formed, and we continue to believe that there's value in books for parents, even though increasingly material is available on blogs and on the internet, on podcasts. And of course teachers who may not be multilingual themselves are increasingly dealing with classrooms that are multilingual. And sometimes, particularly in Anglo countries, they get very little guidance on how to do that. And so we publish an increasing number of texts aimed at teachers to help them use the latest research to make their classrooms welcoming and successful for all students.
I thank Multilingual Matters for being part of this little feature, and I wish them a lot of success for the future. I hope they'll be able to continue to serve the many researchers who are dealing with bilingualism and the many bilingual families who are raising bilingual children and the educators who are teaching bilingual children. Good luck for the future, and bye-bye.